Good evening, everyone. Great to be here. I'm very proud to be an Ashoka Fellow and to be able to come back and be part of this community. So thank you for having me. I want to start by just saying congratulations. When I started the Taproot Foundation 13 years ago, so much of the work we're talking about today wasn't even on people's radar screens at all. And yet, we've seen something remarkable happen over the last dozen years. And it's largely because of you. And it's also because of the work you're going to do going forward. So if you guys could just turn to the person next to you and just congratulate them for their work in making this happen. I mean, it's really remarkable. Awesome. All right, enough of that. I mean, it truly is remarkable. I flew in this morning from Arizona. My wife runs, Arizona. My wife runs an organization called the Sustainability Consortium, which works with global companies around their supply chain. And I was able to talk with senior execs at McDonald's, at Walmart, hundreds of companies that are now fundamentally changing what they're doing, which wasn't even conceivable 12 years ago. And it just reinforced, coming here today, how things have fundamentally changed. We have reached a tipping point where the economy is shifting. It's not just some little niche program at universities or at foundations. We are fundamentally witnessing a change in our economy that's around purpose. And the most important audience as we think about this is universities and students. Because students today represent, as Aaron said, the future of talent. And I can honestly say, I'm so jealous of students today. I graduated in '96, and if I could somehow be graduating from college this year instead, I would jump on it. There's never been a greater opportunity to have a career rich in purpose than there is today. While I was in Arizona, I was lucky enough to be there for Geeks Night Out. Has anybody been to a Geeks Night Out? And I met the most awesome group. It was called the Very Awesome Girls Doing Nerdy Projects. This is like a student group on campus, which I can't join for two reasons. One, I'm not in college anymore, and I'm also not a very awesome girl. But this is exactly the kind of stuff that is so radically different. I'm so excited about in terms of change. So I want to talk about purpose. That's the core of what I want to talk to you about tonight. People have been thinking and talking about purpose for a very long time. I assume that cavemen spent their nights staring at the stars and wondering, why are we here, right? And then Buddha came along and meditated on the idea, why are we here? We had philosophers, and more recently, Oprah. A long lineage of great thinkers wondering, why the hell are we here? What is the purpose of life? And I have no idea what the purpose of life is. I am Jewish of descent. I was raised a Buddhist. I'm married to a Catholic, and I'm now an atheist. So I've tried it all, but I still have no idea what the meaning of life is. But luckily, science in the last 10 years with the field of positive psychology has given us answers to at least part of the question, which is, what is the meaning of work? What generates purpose for us at work? And as many of you know, having read books by Adam Grant, by Dan Pink, by others, we're learning new things about what actually matters and what work is really about. And I want to share those with you. As the head of the Taproot Foundation, I would have countless young people come to my office asking about their careers, and many of them lamented that they hadn't found their cause. They said, I haven't figured out what my cause is. Is it puppies? Is it hunger? Is it education? Is it health? And what I told them is that it doesn't matter. And I think a lot of us think that purpose is about finding a cause. And we're actually taught this by Hollywood, right? And you have these movie stars that are out there because their publicists tell them they need to attach to a cause and then pretend that their whole life they've been worried about that cause or passionate about that cause. They sell us a bill of goods about causes and having a manifest destiny. And it's about as much BS as the idea that Hollywood sells us about true love. That there's one person out there for you. You just need to bump into them on the street and you're going to have love at first sight. And I love my wife dearly, but I gotta say, like, the whole Hollywood idea of love and true love, we know psychologically is rubbish. And similarly, the idea that there's a cause out there for you, or that cause has anything to do with purpose, is equally a Hollywood fiction. Because we know there are many people out there, like my friend here from the Upper East Side, who have many causes and have absolutely no purpose in their lives or their career. I know a lot of people with purpose or with causes who have no sense of purpose. And I know a lot of people who don't have a cause, couldn't even remotely tell you what a cause they're associated with, and have careers rich in purpose. Cause and purpose are not related. But not only are those not related, there are a couple other major myths that we need to overcome. One is that purpose comes to you at the top of a mountain. It's like Moses. You're just going to get struck by lightning and suddenly have these huge tablets that tell you like what to do with your life, right? And we laugh at that, but most people walk around still thinking that they're just, one step away from realizing what their cause is or what their purpose is, right? That it's going to come to them in some kind of magical moment. Again, completely rubbish. Purpose consistently is shown to happen and to come to you as a journey. It comes to you every day throughout your entire life, and it's a learning process. It is not some kind of magical lightning bolt that hits you. The third thing we think, and I'm amazed, this is especially true among social entrepreneurs and folks that are really committed to the community, is to think that purpose at work is a luxury. You only get to have purpose once you've made money, once you've attained a certain level of socioeconomic status. And this, again, is completely not true. Affluence has nothing to do with purpose. How much money you make has almost nothing to do with how much purpose you have in your career. And no one, I think, makes this case better than our friend Viktor Frankl, who said that it was purpose that got him through concentration camps in the Holocaust. And if you read his work and look at what he's done, it makes that case abundantly clear. Purpose has nothing to do with socioeconomic class. What purpose has to do with are two things, primarily. The first is fundamentally our psychological approach to our work. And the second fundamentally is how we structure and the type of work we do. It's why one person doing the exact same job can be miserable and one is happy at the exact same job. And it's why the local guy at my farmer's market, Dr. Pickle, despite smelling like vinegar, is wildly happy and full of purpose in his work. Because what we found is there's three different approaches to work. Some people treat work as a job. They work so they can do things outside of work. The second is career, which is they work for social status and standing in society. It's how they define themselves relative to others. And the third is calling, which is there's no difference between life and work. The whole idea of work-life balance to them is rubbish. And what we've found is that from a well-being standpoint, from a job performance standpoint, we are happiest, healthiest, most productive when we treat work as a calling and we see no separation between work and life. It is fundamentally better for organizations. It's fundamentally better for you as an individual. And this is fundamentally something that's your psychological approach that you take with you from job to job to job to job. It doesn't matter what your job is. You fundamentally have this as a psychological approach to work. And it doesn't matter really what that job is. Roughly a third of doctors treat being a doctor as a job. They do it so they can pay the bills, so they can do things outside of work. A third of them treat it as a means of self-identity and status. And a third truly treat it as a calling. And the same thing is true almost regardless of profession, that it breaks down a third, a third, a third, which I think is really remarkable. It doesn't matter if you're a doctor or an executive assistant. You're 33% chance you're going to treat it as a job, 33% chance you're going to treat it as a career, and 33% chance you're going to treat it as a calling. The second variable has to do with how you actually do your work and the structure of your work. There's three things here I'm going to hit on. The first is you get purpose by doing things that are greater than yourself, right? And that doesn't mean you have to be saving the world. It means that you're doing something fundamental. It's not just in your own self-interest. That you're doing something that's helping more than just yourself. That generates purpose. The second is relationships. Working with other people, working as part of a team, generates purpose for people. And the third, which my wife's Catholic background did not agree with completely, but I'm overruling it, and science overrules it, which is purpose is generated when you are growing personally. When you're investing in yourself, you're challenging yourself, you're expressing yourself, you are also generating purpose. These are the three things that generate purpose. So we have an incredible opportunity right now to have a generation of talent, a generation of people approach work radically differently, because we now have the science to be able to help people understand what matters at work, what's going to actually enable you to be fulfilled. And it doesn't matter if you pick to be a doctor, or you pick to be an executive assistant, or you pick to be a CEO. It has to do with much more fundamental issues about your psychological approach to work and how you actually structure that work. And that is an incredible responsibility of universities and managers to make sure that we are building the literacy of people to understand themselves and to be able to manage their careers through the lens of purpose. And that's why I'm running a new company called Imperative. Imperative is a new platform to help people understand what generates purpose for them. And you can all go onto Imperative and take a diagnostic, and it'll help you understand what drives purpose for you in your career based on your unique psychological profile, and help you develop a purpose statement to guide your career. This is how we're trying to help, as a first step, change the nature of work. Because if we can make everyone own purpose in their work, we're not only going to make them happier, we're going to start creating institutions that are human. And when we create institutions that are human, they're going to start making human decisions, and by doing that, we're going to fundamentally change the world. And that's why I'm so proud of the work we're doing at Imperative. So I hope that you can all join me in changing the nature of work, making purpose a priority. Contact me anytime, aaron@imperative.com. You can find me on Twitter. Together, we have the power to do this. We just got to make sure purpose is the priority. Thank you.